And I said that we want to book them here, and apparently, do you know that they're anarchists?
Really?
I don't even know what the hell that meant.
What does that mean? Yeah.
I don't know. It's people who apparently don't like the rules or something. You know, are you sure you want to book them? They're anarchists. I'm like, well, I think I do. I'm not really sure, but I enjoy the song. I don't know about the anarchy thing.
Wow.
Leeds, England. Their album is entitled Tub Thumper, and tonight they're making their network television debut. Here they are, Chumbawamba. And tonight they're making their network television debut. Here they are.
The Dan but no bacon with the anarchist band Chumbawamba.
Yeah, our Chumbawamba club, it's only for words like that.
Well, they're called, you're waiting for me to say this, huh? Chumbawamba. Chumbawamba, Chumbawamba, Chumbawamba. Now I can't stop saying it.
Well, they're not down to take it up again. You're never going to keep them down.
But first up, it's Chumbawamba, a self-described anarchist collective from England. It's gotten a surprise smash hit by singing about whiskey drinks and vodka drinks.
Bringing down the state and replacing it with a system of autonomous individual collectives.
Well, Chumbawamba, they were this band, they were around for years and years doing these sort of vaguely embarrassing records. They weren't embarrassing because they were political, they were embarrassing because they were that sort of your aunt and uncle trying to join in at the party because they were a bit older than everyone else and a bit untrendy.
It was really exciting.
They're just redundant and they're fake and they're appalling.
Because they're a punk band. They're a punk band in in absolutely every sense of the word.
I mean, to the people arming themselves and fighting against imperialism and all that sort of thing. And at the same time, I mean, to helping all women cross the road. That's Chumbawamba.
Would you work with him again?
Never.
How long has the group been around?
15 years.
Really?
Yep.
There's not been an overnight success for this band. They've been together for 13 years.
Because you have been around for 12 years.
Yeah.
Now, it may seem like overnight success, but the group's been around for more than a decade.
No, it was me, Danbert, Midge, and sort of Dunst, then sort of Lou and Alice, and then Harry came along a bit later.
Definitely punk rock, you know, as in the Sex Pistols and the Clash.
I'd been into some like sort of weird stuff before that. Basically like Bonzo Dog Band and Frank Zappa, and sort of theatrical type things. And I thought that was a fantastic thing to do, but because I couldn't play any instruments, I just thought, well, that's it, they're great, but it's not really my sort of thing. But then when punk happened, it was like, all right, you don't need to know how to play an instrument.
And I was running trying to get off the ground a musicians cooperative for North East Lancs and trying to liberate an arts centre.
Some of us went to this musicians collective meeting, which Simon Lanson had sort of put together.
And there was a lot of punk around. There was a lot of that time. There was a lot of working with the punks, and I was working with a band called Chimpeats Banana, which was the forerunner, I think, of Chumbawamba.
He went, right, first off, we'll see you, how many of people in here are in bands? And for a laugh, we sort of went, you know, we're a band, which we obviously weren't. We were just like a bunch of people, a bunch of punks. And he said, I'm going to pass this piece of paper around and put your name of your band on and the band members. So he passed this piece of paper around and it got to us and we were like, quick, put something. So we wrote Chimpeats Banana and we put our names down. And about a week later, he rang us up. He said, I've got you a gig, man. It's in 2 weeks. Obviously, none of us, we couldn't play any instruments. So we thought, right, we're like, Dambert, you be singer. I'll play drums, you play guitar. We'll borrow some stuff, and that's how it started. Because with punk, you could do that, whereas before that, it wasn't. You had to practice, you had to want to be in a band and all that. So punk was the thing that made me think, yep, I can do this.
Me and Lou were going over to Leeds all the time, and basically, if you happened to be there in the place, you got to join the band at that point in time. And it was just luck that Lou could sing and I couldn't.
I didn't particularly want to be in a band, but they needed someone to like sing a couple of songs, and I was already sort of like knocking about with them, as it were, and they just made me do it.
It was weird. It was like watching a I don't know, as if a left-wing theatre group from the early 70s had crashed into a tank of toxic waste and mutated. And they lived in this big, old, sort of like derelict house with old, like, tractors in the garden and stuff. Or maybe I was hallucinating. And I said to somebody, excuse me, do you know where Chumbawamba live round here? This old bloke went, you mean the house with weirdos in? Up road.
Southview House, 60 Carcrofts, Leeds, LS12, 3HB.
This is where we all lived.
There was a squat in Armley which we'd squatted and taken over and rescued from being a derelict house.
Maybe living with, you know, with each other in that fashion, you know, communally, sort of prepared us for what we were letting ourselves in for.
To be honest, I mean, I know it looks an absolute wreck, but you should have seen it when we moved in. It was absolutely trashed. So we'd spent quite a bit of time and money doing it up.
We were living together because we were friends, and we happened to think it was a good idea to be in a band as well.
I mean, you do really get to know people living with them and sharing money or whatever.
We had a pot, actually, in that room. Everybody was signing on, so you just put your gyro money into the pot.
People can't get their heads around the fact that you don't have individual money and that, you know, you can get on with like 8 people without arguing about money constantly.
Out of that pot came all money for living, you know, for everything that we did.
If you can get through living in a confined space with a lot of other people in quite sort of intense situation, you can more or less get through anything.
When I first went round Chumbawamba's house to interview him, it was really funny because I brought fish and chips with me, and they wouldn't let me in the house till I finished the fish. And then it was pointed out to me quite civilly that the chips were all probably been fried in the same oil as the fish, so I couldn't bring them in either. And they had a dog and they used to feed it carrots. I'm serious. Isn't that the cruelest thing you could possibly do?
There was a lot of lies and myths and rumours about Chumbawamba that we used to find out, you know, second and third hand.
Property was, in the early days, property was, you know, underpants were commonly owned.
Man, you all that living in a squat thing, it didn't all foster the idea that we're, you know, a bunch of, you know, hippie I don't know, extended family, Partridge, Mormon, Osmonds, kind of weird sort of thing.
It was convenient and cheap, and we could practice there.
Look, just to remind ourselves every day we were practicing.
I think their experience of the miners' strike changed them a lot. I mean, I remember one of them saying to me that it's a bit hard to sort of like bang on about, you know, animal rights when the miner on the picket line next to you is eating a bacon sandwich.
So let us let them down, because if we do, in the years ahead, none of us will be able to hold our heads high when the kids ask, what did you do during the miners' strike of 1984?
It was a Thatcher thing, and it was in the sense that that Thatcher's attack on social conditions, whether it was like work or arts or whatever, was so obvious and so in your face that it meant even the most ignorant of people had to wake up and think, ah, it's me, I'm getting attacked.
It's all right walking down like a gonk with like weird hair and wearing silly clothes and not eating cheese because it's unfair to cows and stuff, right? Yeah, but it doesn't have to alienate you from ordinary, decent, working class people like their peers. I think that's another reason why they dropped all that silly bollocks and got into class politics.
You know, on stage, I don't think we looked like we were having fun early on. It was our duty to be on stage.
For a few years, we were just totally underground. That idea of cheap gigs and, you know, doing your own leaflets and the anti-war stuff, having banners and singing songs about shitting in the mouth of the state or whatever, you know.
I sort of stumbled across political culture and liked it.
Anastasia, what do you make of it?
I think everything that Chris Patton said were absolutely great, except he didn't believe a word of it. You know, don't look at what he says, look at what he does. And when his government were in power, whenever he got an awkward customer, he locked them up.
I went on a CND march way before Chumbawamba, but not because I knew anything about CND, but because I went to a party in Liverpool and the people I were with said, oh, we're going to hitch to London for a demonstration tomorrow. And because I was drunk, I went. So we wandered around shouting, no more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasaki, and I was like, what's Nagasaki?
They were quite, in living, they were very radical in terms of what they ate and how they, what they did, their political activity. They were very, very active and very, very militant.
There were actually a point, weren't there, where on demonstrations you'd failed if you didn't get arrested. It took me quite a while to realise that it weren't cool to get caught. I always loved that idea of wandering off, you know, they've got me! Well, hang on, it starts to cool, you've got to go to court.